Welcome to the program today. Mano Gonzalez here in studio, and I have through Skype Steve Quayle. Before we get to Steve, I want to remind everybody about our upcoming conference in Branson, Missouri, December 5th through 8th. It's going to be quite the conference. We're going to have over 20 speakers there. And what's interesting about it is it's going to be happening just a few weeks after the November election. So a lot of the speakers are already telling me that they don't know what their title is going to be just yet, because the election is going to really determine a lot of where the country, the direction of the country is going. So go to prophecywatchers.com, check it out. We also, if you can't be there in person, you can certainly join us through live stream. We already have over 900 people signed up for the conference. Lots of room there. It's a great place. So join us, prophecywatchers.com. So Steve, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you so much, Mondo. One of the things I enjoy the most about when I get to come on with you and Gary Stearman is that we've got so much understanding by the grace of God, and we can just go with the flow. And again, I'm excited because the new DVD we put out, The Gates of Hell, Earth in the Crosshair, The Gates of Hell Are Opening, it has everything to do with the multitudinous people capturing on film, UFOs, strange orbs, unusual phenomenon, from giants in Miami to giants in different places, Las Vegas. And what's happening, it's like a switch has turned on, Mondo, and the preternatural, the supernatural, and I would just say this, things that people have never seen before are what we're experiencing. So Earth in the Crosshairs simply means, based on the passage of Matthew where Jesus talks about the gates of hell, they're not going to prevail against his church, but a gate either lets something through or keeps something back. And for the first time in history, we've been able to basically present some of the most unusual findings that have ever been undertaken, what I call a mega adventure and a mega expedition, because I want to bring your viewers up to an interesting fact, or present an interesting fact. The underworld, as you know, in all myths, legends, and the gates of hell spoken about in Jesus, Matthew 16. But there's a theme that runs through history, that there's a whole nother world. For instance, the Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest poetic narrative in the world. And Gilgamesh was basically half human. Now figure this one out: half human, and they claim, some people claim he was 2/3 fallen angel and 1/3 human. But it's all about the gateways and the portals to hell. So what we've been doing with the glyph team, and this is really critical, is to be able to find every ancient symbol that we can acquire. For instance, Chinese has 116,000 characters. Sometimes in the old Chinese, 136,000. The Sumerian translated symbols are 100,000. And bring it all together, mash it all together, and imagine your computer that you're sitting at, or I'm sitting at, the studio you're in, the computer I'm on. Imagine comparing every image you've ever seen on any photographic Google, for instance, or go on, Pinterest or something, and finding all those, then mashing them together through supercomputers and bringing out the language in context, the language in time, and comparing it to all the newer symbols that are in our even contemporary society. For instance, if you look at any of the symbols and imagery that are in a box, whether it's an app symbol, those things all mean something. What most people can't understand is ancient languages don't deal with nouns and verbs and consonants and conjugated this and conjugated that. Especially the Chinese, every little part of that character tells a story within a story. So our team, and this is why it's critical for this new film, has been mashing these things together, meaning running them through supercomputers. And I think we're up to 3/4 of a teraflop, okay? That's just unimaginable. Fortunately, I'm not a computer guy, but the Lord graced me with a friendship with a triple PhD, and he put the team together, and it's all around the world. Guys in Russia, literally, we got people all over. Some don't speak English. I don't speak, but my team leader does, speaks all the different languages. And so what's important is this: how is it such an apparent fact that something like a spiral would have meaning from even prior to the time of creation of Adam and Eve, after the creation of Adam and Eve, and now we're dealing with things that are preternatural, supernatural, like Skinwalker Ranch and some of the desert Southwest. And you guys have carried, Prophecy Watchers have carried Holocaust of Giants when Tom Horn was still with us, and he's passed away, of course. But that's one of the most profound videos, not because we made it. This isn't about ego, it's about information. And the opening of stargates, portals, and what the Native Americans call star people is astonishing. So getting fast forward into our period, in Earth in the Crosshairs, we have Dr. Travis Taylor, who's the lead astrophysicist on Skinwalker Ranch. Also, we've got just some amazing information on Egypt, William Henry. Egypt's fascinating because most people don't understand that Egypt on the Giza Plateau, that's one thing. It's beneath the Giza Plateau. That is where everything is happening. And I'm sorry, it's Giza, Giza. I threw an L in there. And what's astonishing is that it's reported there's 100 square mile, you're hearing me right, city of giants that was, built giant. If you look at the Temple of Karnak, I don't mean to be a name dropper, but some of the biggest temples in Egypt, the pillars are so tall, even the statues are tall. And what happens if those weren't, quote, embellished size statues, but they were the real size statue? So Earth in the Crosshairs is absolutely a presentation of all the different signs, symbols, the most state-of-the-art physics, obviously quantum physics. How can you have time being all at once everywhere in the universe? We make it really easy. Most people think quantum physics, that's too hard to understand. Biblically, we know as believers we're seated with Jesus Christ in heavenly places. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but in essence, Jesus said that where he is, we may be also. And especially when it comes to the heart of God. So superpositioning, and that's just a fancy word for everybody can be through the redemption of Jesus. I think people think we live here, we die here, and then we shoot to heaven. In essence, I think it's a whole lot different than that. So some of the profound things that we've accomplished in Earth in the Crosshairs are the understanding or being able to give people a background on, that's one of the most obscure statements in the New Testament, the gates of hell will not prevail. Well, in every language, it doesn't matter where, they believe in hell. They believe not in the Christian concept of hell, but they know hell, no good, heaven better, And so what's astonishing to me is the amount of background information we've gotten on Orbs, ORBS. Some of them are actual entities. The Bible teaches that Satan is, it says, Paul said, hey, don't be amazed that even his, Satan's angels can manifest as ministers of light. They can change their shape. So 1/3 of the angels fell and rebelled with Lucifer. Lucifer became Satan. Satan means adversary. But on earth, his worshipers, meaning those who worship the devil, he wants to be called Lucifer. He still maintains that he's God, even though he isn't. So what we've done on this in Earth in the Crosshairs is presented the evidence of the transdimensional, in other words, multidimensional interference in our human existence and how it's increasing. And I think this is what Jesus meant when he said men's hearts failing them for looking after those things coming upon the earth. And ladies and gentlemen, going across the world, as we've done in our previous True Legend series, it's available from Prophecy Watchers, we pretty much have laid out the fact that giants built all the great megalithic structures of the world. They absolutely, in their legends and their myths, and legend is a true story. Myth is something that you attribute another meaning to other than its original meaning.
This is so tremendous, and I know that the quality of the film, Steve, is so great. And for all of our listeners, we're going to take a little break here where you can see how to get our magazine. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the transdimensional portals. So stick around.
10 years ago, we began an exciting journey, a mission dedicated to spreading the good news of the soon return of Jesus. In the last 2 years, tens of thousands of prophecy watchers from all over the world have subscribed to our monthly magazine, The Prophecy Watcher. 12 DVDs on Bible prophecy can be yours when you subscribe to our 48-page full-color magazine for just 1 year, print or digital format, all for a gift of $50, with shipping included in the USA. Recent events have turned the world upside down. The COVID-19 pandemic was followed by Russia's war in Ukraine, all overshadowed by the horrific October 7th tragedy in Israel. The prophets of the Bible predicted a series of end-time wars, and we're seeing the final pieces of the puzzle fall into place. Russia, China, Iran, Syria, Turkey. The enemies of Israel are on the doorstep, just as the Bible predicted some 2,500 years ago. The Prophecy Watcher magazine includes the writing of dozens of prophecy experts like Gary Stearman, Mondo Gonzalez, L.A. Marzulli, Bill Salas, Josh Peck, and many others, writing on fascinating subjects like the Rapture, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Red Heifer, the World Economic Forum, the Global Reset, digital currency, the Mark of the Beast, the Nephilim, and the Antichrist Beast's system of global control. Things you will likely never hear about in church. 12 bonus DVDs will introduce you to Ezekiel's Gog and Magog war. We'll examine the supernatural side of the Bible as we investigate controversial issues like the Nephilim, government UFO cover-ups, and the Shroud of Turin. We'll address the Luciferian Rebellion, a mutiny that changed heaven and earth forever. Speaking of heaven, you'll enjoy Mondo's glimpse into God's creation as he explores the stunning beauty of the stars and galaxies, seen through the lens of our Psalm 19 observatory cameras. 12 issues of the magazine plus 12 bonus DVDs, a $180 value, now available for your gift of $50 to support our worldwide television outreach. Care to become a fellow prophecy watcher? Just visit our online bookstore at prophecywatchers.tv. Partner with us today and help us take the message of the soon return of Jesus to the whole world.
Well, welcome back. Again, talking to Steve Quayle about his new DVD. And Steve, before the break, you were leading us into understanding what really these trans-dimensional portals. Kind of talk about that.
Well, first of all, a doorway is a portal. A portal just means an opening. A stargate means an opening to the stars or from the stars. Difference between a stargate and a portal is trans-dimensional opening. A stargate is between two positions, one on Earth or Alpha Centauri, or my favorite, Pleiades. The thing is that it's my favorite because it's so specifically named in Scripture. And you know what's interesting is that the portal, and this is what people have got to understand, from everything we're turning up in I would call pre-Adamic history and post-Adamic history, the ancients used stargates to travel from point A on the planet to point B. It's advanced physics, but it's really pretty simple. You step from one place to another place. And because folding space, and I don't want to get complicated, but you draw a piece of paper, draw a spot on the paper, and then fold the paper together, and the spot is touching 2 points at one time. A portal is another story, and that's what we're talking about, dimensional gates opening up. People, because of the availability of cell phones, and some of the phones are really good optically, I'm a camera guy, a lens guy, and I'm telling you what, some of the iPhones and even the other brands' phone cameras are great, but there's more people carrying cameras now than ever. But they're actually seeing openings in the sky. They're seeing doorways in the sky. They're seeing spirals in the sky. And in our Earth in the Crosshairs, we have different portal shots from around the world that people have taken and put into the public domain. But the point is that when you see openings and things coming through them, whether it's spacecraft whether it's orbs. And just recently, one of the British newspapers carried some of the clearest photos of orbs that have ever been seen. And wouldn't you know it, the guy that took the photo was harassed like no tomorrow, harassed even beyond Luis Elizondo. And some of the people, here's the deal. The government, the secret government that runs the world, has chosen to keep all the truth of ancient history and present history and contemporary history and all of the, I would say, spiritual phenomena in our dimension. They've held it under wraps because they're going to release it all at once to the world, and that's going to be one of the basis foundations of Antichrist claims. So what's interesting, and I'm sorry to use that word, but what's mega interesting is just the fact that Earth in the Crosshairs is laying out all the different interactions. Now, I was mentioning Cliff Mahudi. Cliff Mahudi was a Zuni elder. He passed away. But when Tom Horn and I am repeating myself, and our Gen 6 team were in the whole desert Southwest, we met with Cliff Mahudi, filmed him for a couple hours, and he told us about the Giant Society. Now, he doesn't gain a lot of favor because a lot of the Native Americans don't want these truths known. Tom Horn referred to that too with one of the elders that he met, whose father, actually, I forget the name of the gentleman, but they meet with fellow, I guess you'd call them shamans. They meet with fellow spiritual leaders of different tribes, and they open the Stargates, okay? What we've found in all of our expeditions is there are words, sounds, shapes that open up the Stargates, okay? Somebody once asked me, well, what do you want to open the Stargates for? I said, nah, I'm about to close them because you don't understand. Stargates, not good, what's coming through. And for instance, on Skinwalker Ranch, they've been having real imagery of, for instance, orbs going into a solid granite mesa or, a solid rock mesa and coming out the other side. That could only happen by whatever it is being able to change its atomic structure. I'm not trying to get too complicated, but in essence, how did Jesus appear? He just appeared in the midst of, the disciples. And many times he passed through those that wanted to kill him before his time, So what I'm saying is that the spiritual understanding of the world around us is exploding. And I think Earth in the Crosshairs is one of the most amazing films because we explain it all. And just listening to those guys, you've watched it. It's so interesting. Marcellus Medina, who's kind of the governor of the Pueblo people in the Four Corners region of the United States, was telling us phenomenal stories about how they open the Stargates. You know what we were asking? We want the Stargates to open. Will you let us film them? Well, that's like the ultimate taboo, okay? So the thing that's interesting, if you know and are familiar with Kokopelli, a little guy in the desert, he's got a flute, kind of like the Pied Piper. Everybody knows the Pied Piper, the story. Actually they were dealing with the devil, but where did the children disappear to? Well, Kokopelli opens the gate with a little flute. He's not the equivalent of the Pied Piper, but I'm just saying even modern fairy tales leave certain question marks out there. So what we've done is compile some of the best interviews I believe that exist, some of the smartest guys by everyone else's statements that exist, brought it together in such a cohesive and linear fashion that you can follow it. Wow, so that's what's happening because, again, when Jesus comes back, a certain gate and the walls of Jerusalem are going to open, okay? Certain gates are closed until Jesus opens them. So what's astonishing to me is the amount of aerial phenomenon, and I still maintain the government is not telling anybody the truth. I think they got 1,500 pages on the last UAP forecast, and now they're going for another one, I understand. I've been told by people in the world who fled that world, a couple of them for their lives' sake, this is not melodrama, that, Steve, they have millions of files they being the three-letter agencies, they being the Smithsonian, and what's really interesting is that the amount of Stargate imagery, portal imagery, and all of the different glyphs. If the easiest way for people to understand a glyph is just anything that's ever been a sign, a symbol in use. A Nazi swastika. The Nazis didn't invent the swastika, they adopted the swastika. So they're very well-known symbols in history. So all of us deal with symbols every day. Any trademark is a symbol that stands for something. So what we've done with a team of 8 PhDs from around the world over the past 3 years is combine their talents, whether in Asian languages or, let's say this, certain aspects of antiquity that most people think, boy, that's obscure. And we come to a point where we can present to people, here is the central theme. The central theme is, and this is what's really unusual, the central theme is from the beginning of the pre-Adamic creation, the anger towards the living God and the war against God was a central theme. There's an argument in Christendom which basically says, inanimate objects can't be possessed. That's not true. For instance, Jesus even said that if the people didn't cry out, Hosanna, the rocks would cry out. So in the fascination that we're seeing of the future pointing glyphs, and it takes a lot of computing effort to do this, we're seeing that they're announcing the genetic destruction of mankind and the technological destruction of mankind. So AI, alien infestation, alien incursion, alien implant, the theme is the total seduction and destruction, the lying signs and wonders.
It's pretty incredible, Steve, all the stuff that's going on. We see it in the government. We see it's perfect timing for all this. And we're going to take a little break here where you can see how to get Steve's new DVD, which again was a tremendous presentation. The quality, as is typical, is awesome. So take a listen.
The last few years have witnessed a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, strange phenomena in the skies, military whistleblowers, and unredacted government documents. Traditional aircraft don't fly at thousands of miles per hour and appear and disappear from radar screens at will. Orbs, spirals, portals, stargates, glyphs, words that conjure up confusion for some and biblical wisdom for others. As always, Steve Quayle has poured tremendous resources into creating a magnificent film, interviewing the world's leading authorities on these strange subjects and warning us just how close we are to full disclosure. Steve's latest DVD, Earth in the Crosshairs, explores some of those controversial subjects and sheds light on the efforts of Lucifer to reintroduce himself to planet Earth in a dramatic way. You can get a copy of this amazing 2-hour film for your gift of $50 or more with shipping included in the USA. Just call the toll-free number you see on your screen or visit us online at prophecywatchers.tv. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees do apply and all prices listed are in US dollars. This offer includes 2 bonus DVDs that will help you understand how long these government cover-ups have continued. DVD number 1 is Gary Stearman's Project Jehovah, a deep dive into the Roswell UFO encounter and how the Eisenhower administration covered up the crash of an alien craft. It delves deeper into the advanced alien technology that was discovered in that crash and how it was reverse engineered to bring the world into the computer age. DVD number 2 is Gary's personal UFO encounter in the skies over Texas many years ago. He even kept the original flight log from his lengthy encounter that lasted for several hours and included missing time and an up-close look at a gigantic metallic silver UFO. The whole encounter was captured on this second bonus DVD, Rescued by an Angel. Steve has also produced a fascinating series of DVDs he's called the True Legends series. taking you on a tour of the supernatural. From the Vatican to the Grand Canyon, he leaves no stone unturned. You can find this special discounted package of DVDs at prophecywatchers.tv. Satan and his angels are getting bolder as the church age comes to a rapid close. So equip yourself with these end-time resources and share them with your friends and family. And thanks for supporting the important work of Prophecy Watchers.
Well, welcome back. And Steve, before the break, you were talking about that, a kind of an interesting segue of that, which is interesting. Kind of pick up where you left off there.
Well, first of all, what we've been able to do by being able to translate the language of fallen angels, because they use symbols, they communicate with each other that way. We've been able to take AI programs, and by the way, none of our computers are hooked to any of the most common AI like ChatGPT or anything. We keep them separate and segregated. But because of the background information, we're able to actually identify specific entities in the computers who give up their information. Remember when Jesus asked the Gadarene demoniac, spirit, what is thy name? And the spirit responded, Legion, for we are many. So imagine this. Imagine we're dealing with an evil spirit that inhabited a giant from thousands of years ago, and we know his name, we know what he's up to, and then we're able, being disconnected, we have a private group of servers, and they're out of the United States, by the way, that are querying these guys, these entities, and they, because of the information that we were able to decipher, Mondo, their language, in essence, they're vying for expression. They're so proud and so arrogant that it wasn't Gadareel, it wasn't, it was me. You know what I'm saying? So no one's ever done that before. And the movie that Stephen King wrote the novel for, Christine, there are cases of actual demon-possessed cars that killed 14 people. But what we're finding, imagine this. This is the most provocative thought I'll leave you with because I know we're running out of time. If the demonic presence is capable and more than willing to infest, and that's the word, you cannot use a different word, laptops, mainframes, and control even the output of, quote, the AI, then what they're doing is taking control of a person from their perspective. And they've yielded themselves to not only the technology, but to the seduction of the technology.
Thank you, Steve, for your time. And
thank you, Mondo. God bless you guys.
As you can see, we only were able to scratch the surface, but as Steve mentioned, at the end of the day, there's a lot of confusion going on, but the truth and the encouragement is found in Jesus Christ alone. So appreciate you watching. Thank you as well for your prayers for all that we do here. We couldn't do it without your prayers and certainly God's support. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
The media ministry of Prophecy Watchers exists only through the faithful prayer and financial support of friends like you.